Well, I think that the connection between Prince Harry and his cousin Eugenie is really important because we know we've seen them together over the years. I know she's been out to California. She's one of the people that, you do see with him, who represents a very important part of his previous life as a first cousin. And, with him with small children and her with small children, the fact that they can all get together and get to know each other is hugely important. I have a feeling that there are several possible reasons why they've made this move to Portugal, other than, of course, that Milicades, which is just somewhat south of Lisbon. It's a very beautiful part of Portugal. It's got a lovely there are long beaches there, which are considered to be the finest in the world on the Atlantic coast. But it is possible that if Trump gets in, one of the first things he will do as a sort of publicity stunt, flexing his muscles, is to chuck Prince Harry out of America on account of the fact that he once took drugs and has admitted this. And there's always been this dispute about what was on his form when he filled it in when he went to America, because you're not allowed to go to live in America if you've ever had a drug record of any sort. So that is a big worry for Prince Harry, I would suspect. So maybe he is, covering his options and getting a property so that he's got somewhere to go if that happens. Secondly, of course, Portugal is very accessible to Europe and to the various things that he does if he goes to Germany for the Invictus Games or one of the other countries, or indeed Spain even, or Portugal itself, perhaps. So that's very relevant as well. And I guess, he's coming a little bit closer home. It doesn't mean he's going to return to England, but Portugal is not so far from London. Well, the King has been very good at keeping the door open for Prince Harry. He's never responded to any of the extremely unpleasant things, basically, that were put out in the Oprah Winfrey interview, in the book Spare, and in the various Netflix documentaries. So the ball is very much in Prince Harry's court. The King, I suspect, as you know, he's in Australia at the moment, has a lot of other and more important things to be thinking about than, what to do with Prince Harry. And, if Prince Harry was to come back to England, it would be nice, of course, if he could be relating with his family. But I used to think that, maybe he would come back and even resume doing royal duties, which is something he's very good at. I mean, when we saw him the other day in London when he was giving out awards instead of accepting one, he looked really good. And then he went off to Africa, and that's his strength, actually. I mean, he's extremely good at all that. But of course, it would just be a huge distraction because we're always talking about him, and he would be, whatever he did, he would be, is he upstaging his brother? Is he upstaging his father? Is he towing the line? Is he supporting? Is he competing? It would be very difficult. So I think it's a big problem. But I think that we have seen him, fun enough, since his 40th birthday, kind of returning to his skills. He's much better dealing with young kids in Commonwealth countries or giving out awards for this and that than he is if he's trailing along behind Meghan Markle when she's on a platform somewhere, or she's spouting the kind of Californian talk that she tends to deliver. So I think it's all up for grabs, I suppose. Well, I think it's a question of family dynamics. I would say that I don't think it's political at all. I think that they just get on very well together. They know each other extremely well. She's a lovely girl. I've met her a number of times over the years. And, she's got a very warm heart. And it's great that they're friends. I think this is really important, and I would encourage that. And so I think it's very, very good news, if indeed it's true that he's got a house quite near where they are in Portugal, because any amount of sort of rapprochement and friendship between those two should be encouraged. I mean, she herself is not right in the heart of the royal family, in so much as that she and her sister Beatrice don't undertake royal duties. They do charitable works from time to time. They are princesses of the royal house, obviously. They will be included in many of the big occasions, but they're not what's called working royals. I personally think they should be. And because I think that what we are seeing at the moment with the monarchy is, you have quite quite an old king. I mean, I'm looking at him in Australia. He's quite an old man, and he's not been well. And Queen Camilla is also a certain age. I mean, she's 76. So what you do need is a revitalized monarchy. And we saw this a little bit in the summer when Prince William hosted a garden party, and he invited all the royal cousins, including Beatrice and Eugenie, I think, and the Tyndalls and Peter Phillips and others. And I know somebody who went to that garden party, and they said it was great fun because what you need is energy. And when the Queen, Elizabeth II, was alive, you had a four-tier monarchy. If you think about it, you had them doing things the way they did it. You had the Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall. At the next level, you had the Cambridges as they then were, and you had the children when they appeared. So, this means, as Prince Philip once explained very succinctly, as he always did, that everybody could relate to somebody according to your age group. And that's slightly what the royal family are missing at the moment, and which they really do need to address, I think. So Harry and Eugenie, very good friendship, that one. But I don't think it's political. I think it's entirely that they just love each other and they get on very well. They're cousins and they've been brought up side by side. They're not so far different in ages, and it's a great friendship. I commend it highly. Well, I think what you say about, the connection between the Brooksbank children, the Eugenie children, and Prince Harry's children could be very significant as the years go on, because they will know their cousins as they grow up. And that could be a very nice way in, you know, decades hence, maybe, who knows, because I have always thought that it's very sad for Archie and Lilibet that one day they will, it'll dawn on them that their cousin, is going to be the King of England one day. And, normally you'd really rather like to get involved with all that, I would have thought. I mean, it could be a very interesting extension to life. And so that could be a wonderful route in. I think that's a very significant point. I think that there must be a big part of Prince Harry that wonders what he gave up. I mean, it certainly was the case with the Duke of Windsor when he, surrendered ruling over two-thirds of the world's population to marry Mrs. Simpson and end up living in France and spending time in America. It becomes a sort of pointless life. And, Prince Harry was terribly good at what he did. And so for his children, well, at any rate, they should have the option. And I think that I'm sure he would encourage this. So by giving them proximity to Eugenie's, children as they grow up, I think that it's a fantastic opportunity for them to all get to know each other as time goes on. And they will reach a certain age, not yet, but they will, when they can make up their own minds what they do. This happens in families. There's a family rift, and the next generation very often tries to mend the bridges. I can give you dozens of examples of that, and it's very effective. I think, I've said it a million times, there's always possible of reconciliation if both sides are prepared to compromise. And, it could be that the children making friends would be a way of doing it. I mean, I remember from my childhood, and I know it's been remade since, but there was a lovely Hayley Mills film called The Parent Trap, where the two twins met at summer camp and eventually managed to reunite their parents. So, I just give you that as an analogy. Yes, I think it's all possible, and that's all very good. And let's hope that might happen. Well, Diana and Sarah Ferguson were variously very close, and various from time to time fell out, but they were, of course, huge friends when they were young, before they married, actually, and that seemed to be a very good friendship. I mean, I don't know the basis of why Harry and Eugenie are so close, but they are cousins. They know each other very well, and they obviously like each other. And I think the fact that she also went out to California, and I remember seeing a picture of her sitting with both of the Sussexes actually at some, I think, a sporting event probably. I thought that's all good, because you just need to keep these avenues of communication open. And that may not be the most direct avenue, but it is an avenue and it should be encouraged. But yes, I mean, Diana and Fergie were indeed very close, and maybe that's part of the bond. I'm sure Sarah Ferguson would also be very encouraging to Prince Harry. The other people, of course, that he's very close to, as you probably know, are his mother's sisters, Jane and Sarah.